Joining me now at the big desk is Gary Brown, Detroit City Council member. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for asking me.
So the crowd is starting to get a little lively here.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about the Mackinac Policy Conference is you can kind of bump into almost anybody that you want to talk to, make a deal with, or disagree with.
Yes.
So who are you looking forward to talking with
the
in
mayor,
the next few
Mayor
days?
Bean, Kirk Lewis, Chris Brown. I've already had a chance to talk to Chris once today, but it's amazing. People that are in city government. I mean, I don't have to wait and get a meeting that would take a month to meet with all of those guys. They're all up here. They can't get away.
No.
So they got to talk.
Now, isn't that amazing, though? I mean, you're only a couple floors away downtown in Detroit, but you don't really get to have a ton of FaceTime?
Yeah, most of us are driven by our schedules, and other people control our schedules. And so, no, you just can't walk in and get a meeting unless it's an emergency. Of course, you can call the mayor if it's an emergency, but just a normal meeting to find out where we are on certain issues, that's the value of being up here today. And not only the mayor's office, but the state government, the governor's office. That is much more. The chief of staff, you get a chance to talk to him about issues in Detroit that are, certainly near and dear to my heart.
What's your number one item on your agenda that you want to discuss?
Moving the consent agreement forward and the budget. Obviously, the council just approved the mayor's budget and sent it back to him. We're hoping that he's not going to veto it like we did last year. We think it's a good budget, but I want to talk to him about how it's going to be implemented, because the budget is one thing, it's implementing the changes in the budget that are another. And so I want to find out how we're going to handle recreation in the city of Detroit and how can we move it forward.
So let's start to tackle it right now.
Yeah.
You are obviously against the challenge to the consent agreement or the financial stability agreement.
Absolutely against. That doesn't mean that I'm against Crystal Crittenton, our corporation counsel, going to court if she feels that's necessary. But let the judge work out all the legal issues, and the city council and the mayor's office should be moving forward with the consent agreement and fixing the problems that we have until the judge stops us and tells us it's illegal and don't do it.
People are saying you're running out of time.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have the chance. You don't have the time to wait for a judge. Yeah. When could a judge address this?
Nothing has really stopped. I mean, we've appointed the Financial Advisory Board. The CFO is on board now. We're trying to hire a project manager. At least the mayor's trying to hire a project manager. So things are moving forward. We're not stagnant. We're still moving forward. No one has stopped us from moving. Unfortunately, Christy, most of the things that we're doing in the consent agreement, we could have done all along without a consent agreement. I mean, we had the ability to do it. We had a revenue consensus committee that looked at our revenue before we finished our budget and said it's a sound revenue estimate. And so we're moving forward.
Do you have faith in the Bing leadership that this can get done? And do you think the city of Detroit, the people of Detroit, have faith in the city council's leadership to get this done?
Well, I think we have some work to do to get faith back in the citizens of the city of Detroit. Certainly if we turn on 10,000 lights in the next couple of months, they'll start to
People might be pretty happy with you.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to see results. They don't care who turns the lights on. They just want the lights on. They want something to be done about the crime problem in the city of Detroit. And so they don't care whether it's the Detroit police, the state police, or the Wayne County sheriffs. They want to see some action take place. And I think that given in the next 18 months we're going to get something done with this consent agreement, then you're going to have all the naysayers trying to take credit for it. Everybody wants to be a part of success. This will be successful. The city of Detroit will be successful with the consent agreement, and then you'll see everybody, all the naysayers trying to take credit for it as if it were their idea. And that's okay. We don't care whose idea it is, as long as we fix some of these problems.
And move it forward. I want to bring into the conversation Congressman Hanson Clark. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Great being here.
So we're talking about Detroit. You've jumped into exactly the right conversation because you have a pipeline perhaps to some federal money. You have talked about the possibility of trying to get some kind of federal funding for Detroit. Where are you with that, and what kind of possibilities are even out there?
Well, the possibilities are good that we'll get investment back to Detroit, because Detroit is so important, not only to this region, but for the country. Now, even though Detroit has gone through some tough times, we have some great assets. We have the busiest international border crossing in North America. We've got the manufacturing know-how to build and design the best products, create the best technologies. We have a lot of vacant land that's cheap to buy and develop, and we have great research universities. So Congress understands the value of investing in Detroit. My immediate effort right now is to secure federal funding for the M1 rail. That's the light rail project that'll go down Woodward Avenue. I think that's so important for many reasons. That rail system could help anchor a regional development, a regional transit system that's needed in our region, and also too, it'll help leverage the investment that's already been made in Detroit in higher education, in our healthcare systems, in manufacturing, technology, and in financial services. So yes, Congress, my mission in Congress was to promote the value of investing in Detroit and to encourage Congress to see that rebuilding Detroit is really key to rebuilding the U.S. economy.
Yes. Neat thing about Mackinac, again, where you can kind of just turn around and bump into anybody. So how often is it that you guys get to sit together and have a conversation about
lots of times we work together. You know, Gary's done great leadership in terms of training our veterans, and that's what I'm doing right now. As a matter of fact, I've been able to get bipartisan legislation enacted that I believe the governor's office will use now to help put unemployed veterans back to work. I was able to amend the law to encourage employers to hire the unemployed who are receiving unemployment benefits and put them to work without losing their unemployment. As a matter of fact, pay them more money while they get on the job training.
I want to steer back a little bit towards crime. Sure. And we talked a little bit about Detroit and the issue of crime and talking about getting more officers on the streets. Right now, they're going through a process of maybe not turning the lights on in certain neighborhoods, certain pocket neighborhoods that they are not going to try to revitalize. How concerning is that to you, knowing obviously that there are not enough resources to make sure that the entire city is blanketed with the services, but that you're going to start to have these pocket neighborhoods that are going to be in the dark? And then is that just an entree for crime to come in?
Yeah, well, certainly not having lights is not a good thing, but we've got to hear more of the details. And Detroiters, the people that live in the city of Detroit, have to be able to weigh in on this particular issue on where the lights will be and where they won't be. We all understand that we've got to cut costs. But if you're talking about turning out lights, you better get some buy-in from the citizens of the city of Detroit that are going to be actually living in the dark before you implement the program. So we've got to hear a lot more about the details of that program before it ever gets implemented.
Hanson, have any constituents talk to you about reshaping the city and where neighborhoods might end up being at all?
Oh my goodness, people in neighborhoods are very concerned about the lights being shut off because right now, many times 40% of the street lights are already out. So if we're actually going to turn off more lights, I mean, that's just going to breed crime. And my point is this: in order for Detroit to attract the jobs and investment back that will create jobs throughout the region and the country, we've got to have safe streets, number one. So getting the street lights on, getting our young people off the street, into school, learning how to read, building their confidence, creating a culture of education in the city where the parents support the children and expect that they learn. Those are all critical in making our streets safer. We've got to do that. Number one priority.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Hanson's absolutely right. I mean, he said both of them. One, crime. We've got to have a safe city. No one's going to move in. No one's going to stay in a city that's not perceived to be safe.
And and I think we've talked about a lot of businesses who are bringing their employees down there and they're moving in, and there's a huge investment on the business in business community to do that. But ...
Secondly, you got to educate kids. You're not going to get young people to come into the city of Detroit and stay. They won't stay young forever. They'll get married. They'll have kids. You must be able to educate kids. We keep talking about these kids that go away to college, get educated, and then go to New York or some other city. What about the kids that don't get educated and stay in the city of Detroit? That's a bigger problem than the ones that are leaving. And so we've got to fix it. We've got to fix the public safety issue. We've got to fix the education issue in the city of Detroit. And then thirdly, we've got to provide an acceptable level of core services. Police, fire, EMS, pick up the garbage, and lighting are core services.
All right, I've got to get to politics real quick while I have you two here, and I've just got a couple of moments left. You're fighting for your seat. What has it been like for this first term in Congress?
No, let me say this. I'm not fighting for this seat. This seat belongs to the people of this region. I'm fighting for them. And then I asked them to choose me to rehire me for 2 more years based on my work. See, that's what I'm trying to change in politics. Too much. Politics has been viewed as a contest between politicians. It should be about how do we effectively serve the people with the tax dollars that they pay. So
and have you effectively served the people, you believe, in your first term?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and are you running for the mayor of City of Detroit?
Oh, absolutely not. I have no intention of doing anything other than running for, my job on Detroit City Council for this 4 years. I have no ambitious to run for the
All right.
for
Well,
the
you know,
mayor's
we
office.
just had to get some of these things on the record. You know, a girl's got to ask,
That's right.
Detroit City Councilman Gary Brown, Congressman Hanson Clark.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so
You're
much
very
for
welcome.
being with
Thank
us.
you.
We
Thank you
really
for asking
appreciate
me.
it. And if you find out any more information the next couple of days, things that we need to know about in
Yes.
our audience across the state
Good
on
seeing
PBS,
everybody.
we'd love for you to come back and
Yeah.
share it.
We will.
Okay?
Thank you.
you.
All right.
Thank
And
very
you are
much.
watching live coverage of My Vote Mackinac. Stay with us.